let's just start with a Laker topic.
Okay.
As they're constituted right now,
yes,
I feel like they're missing a bench piece. Are they good enough today to win the title?
No, largely because I've said from the beginning, I don't see them getting past the Clippers.
Either do I.
The Clippers are just too deep. They match up. They've got everything. The Lakers have been a great story, and they've been phenomenal in doing what they've done with what they have.
By the way, a grown-up team that's remarkable on the road. This matters. These veteran teams, you get them on the road. Philadelphia is talented but immature, awful on the road.
Exactly.
It's amazing how good the Lakers have been on the road this year. It's like record-setting.
Well, and team chemistry matters when it comes to that, too.
Yes.
Big factor on the road. So, yeah, all of that. But they do need that piece. The problem is it's not out there. Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith are, like 5 years ago, J.R. Smith is what they would want coming off the bench in that spot. I just don't know at this stage that J.R. Smith can give you that.
Can you explain to me? I figured, and I was wrong, the Clippers' defense would be great early. It would take the offense past the trading deadline to get it together. The offense, to me, has been very dynamic. If you look at a lot of their defensive rankings, despite having the best two wing defenders arguably in the league, they're average defensively on a lot of nights. What is that about with the Clippers?
Some of it is just a matter of figuring out, some of it, honestly, is understanding how hard you have to play.
I think that is.
Yeah. The distinction is, and this is a challenge for, and this is new territory for the Clippers in general. You're the team to beat. And yet they hadn't accomplished anything. So when you come into the season, we're the team to beat, and you don't understand that doesn't mean anything as far as your commitment to defending and doing the dirty work, then you're not going to do it. And that little 2-3% of we're good, and maybe it's some of it like we got so much offensive firepower, even if it wasn't clicking, we've got so much offensive firepower, and we know what we're capable of defensively. We don't have to do it right from the start.
I think a lot of it's above the shoulders.
100% it is. No, without question. And there is a certain amount of familiarity, too. When a lot of the defensive energy comes out of how do guys feel offensively. Who's touching the ball, how much you're touching the ball. And they kind of had to sort that out. Why I've always had confidence that they would figure it out is because even when they added a Marcus Morris or when we see Paul George and Kawhi Leonard together, there's a vibe that you sense when guys don't get along or guys like, I need the ball. I want the ball. I never got that. I never got that from Kawhi. I never got that from Paul George. I never got the feeling Lou Williams doesn't like being the third guy now when he was higher in the pecking order last year. And that's why I always felt it's just a matter of them figuring it out, not trying to sublimate their egos.
Okay, so my lead today is Milwaukee, is that it happens rarely, very infrequently, that LeBron in his prime or Giannis or Kawhi have an off night.
Yes.
That is when you need a dependable two. In LeBron's 5 off nights, Anthony Davis in 4 of them has been on his average or above it. Okay. In Kawhi's 3 off nights, Paul George has been on his average or above it. Giannis had a rare stinker. Middleton was awful. Last year in the Toronto series, they needed Chris Middleton. 1 game over 15 points. Mm-hmm. His only decent game was in a blowout where his points weren't needed or helpful. Last night is why I don't think Milwaukee can win. This league is not about your star. If it was, LeBron would have won 8 straight titles. If it was about your star, that Houston would always get to the conference finals. It is about your two, because ones give you 30. When the Warriors had their dynasty, Steph's your 2, Clay's your 3. In Miami, Dwayne Wade's your 2, Chris Bosh is a Hall of Famer at 3. Chris Middleton's a B-plus NBA player.
He's still an all-star, however you slice it. The distinction is how your 1 and 2 fit. Can my 1 still be uber efficient and effective when the ball is in my number 2's hands? LeBron is not good that way. Giannis is not good that way. So they've built these teams. This is why I reject the notion that when a team fails, it's because of the supporting cast. I heard the same thing when the Philadelphia 76ers went to the finals with Allen Iverson. And it was like, oh, if only he had a little more help. If only he had stars. No, they put together a team that allowed the ball always to be in Allen's hands and for him all to do essentially whatever he wanted. And everybody else has to take care of spacing the floor, doing the dirty work, defending, and knowing that you may not get touches and your role may change from night to night. That's what the Milwaukee Bucks are around Giannis. And for them to be efficient, it's the way they're built, but it's the way to maximize what you get out of Giannis. The beauty of the Golden State Warriors is when Klay would go crazy, Steph still could be effective. And if Steph was going crazy, Klay could still be a factor as a defensive weapon or just as a floor spacer. If Giannis doesn't have the ball in his hands and he's standing out on the perimeter to create space,
It's an average team.
you don't have to guard him. You don't have to stay out there. I'll live with you shooting threes, Giannis. That is not going to hurt me. So that's where, and the same thing with LeBron. He's gotten much better, but he just doesn't. He just looks totally uncomfortable when the ball is in the hands. He stands out there waiting for his turn. So I am reluctant. Derrick Rose went to the conference finals in the East with a complimentary crew far worse than either one that Giannis and
But the East is better today
LeBron
than that year, isn't it?
The Miami Heat had their big three at that time. That's who they lost to in the conference finals. So I'm not sure I would say that. I feel we make way too many excuses for the superstar and say if only he had more help. It depends. If the superstar always had the ball in his hands and we give you that luxury, then my feeling is no, you need to get better to maximize what you have around him. And by the way, Bucks without Giannis playing are 5-1 this year. That tells me there's enough talent there to win.
So let me get to Zion. Love him. Don't believe in nitpicking. I thought we nitpicked Jason Tatum to death. I thought, God, half the NBA people who cover the league had Lonzo Ball out of the league because he couldn't shoot a three the first year. I think environment matters. Coaching matters. I just see 30-year games for 10 years with Zion. But what are people in the league saying with Zion today?
Well, there's still the question of the health, the sustainability. They love the atmosphere that he creates, the charisma that he has, the game, the electricity in his game. He's just fun.
Look how big his butt and hips are compared to the average NBA center.
Well, it's that and the quickness, the combination of those two. He spins off of you so quickly, and he's already wide, so he just creates space for himself in spite of the fact that he's only 6'6". When people talk about we've never seen anything like him before, it's very true. And it's one of the appeals here, which is you don't really know what to make of him. If you watch him an entire game, you will see there's plenty of reason to nitpick. There's a lot that's not there, but I think he's built for today's game because the game is consumed in a different way. You and I may sit down and say, we're going to watch. I can't wait to watch
I watched
Zion.
This weekend, I watched 3 NBA games, at least an hour and a half of each.
But most people are consuming. They're not sitting down to watch Zion. They're saying, I got to make sure I check my Twitter feed to see what Zion did against the Lakers.
That's how young people watch the NBA.
They want to see the highlights. And I was at the Tech Summit at the All-Star game. And this is an issue with the owners because they understand the NBA is more popular on social media than far and away than any sport. Highlights, back and forth conversation. And they're looking at it and going, we are so popular and this is how people are consuming our game. We're not making any money off of it.
That's right.
Like, how do we harness this thing?
This has been something in my business, and I've told this story before on podcasts. It's great to be popular on Twitter. My companies make money on this TV show and on my radio show. That's where my companies make money. So I love podcasting, but they don't make as much money.
Right.
So Joy and I are consumed about the radio and the television.
Sure.
That's when you can make money off Twitter as much as this TV network, then I'll address my show differently. That's why I don't spend a ton of time on Twitter. So to your point, Zion is the perfect highlight star.
Yes, he's the perfect for where the league is going and how it's consumed, because people don't care like, oh, he doesn't play defense, or he's not a rim protector, or he's not that good defense.
Not good on
People
Twitter.
don't care. Show me the 13-second highlight of him going past somebody, dunking, missing the dunk, going back and getting it, dunking it again. Like, that is what excites people. So it's why the NBA is popular. It is more popular than ever. If the ratings and the attendance are not showing it, it's because it's being consumed in a different fashion.
That's right. And that doesn't play well to those who have confirmation bias and don't like the NBA. It's fine, but we've got a sport that is consumed differently. By the way, soccer is another sport sometimes I watch highlights of.
Right.
So, MLS, a prime example. If I can't go to a game, I'm not going to give you 95 minutes, but I'd like to see the goals.
Yeah.
And so with MLS, I am watching the best goals of the weekend every week, but I'm not always watching the games. And so I think MLS is going to have a little bit of this problem going forward. It is really consumable in short doses, watching spectacular goals like Zion is watching his spectacular dunks.
This is where I think that the viewing audience when it comes to soccer has evolved, is that it's not just the goals, but the great opportunities created, even if the goal is not scored. People are beginning to appreciate the teamwork and the magic of footwork and ball handling, all of that. And so it's gone to the next level where people appreciate the appreciation for soccer has gone a little deeper.
I think it is. I think it's growing. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.